So today I'm going to be showing you how to do a transitional autumnal makeup look using some of the products that I've been tending to lean towards in these early autumn days. Just to speed things up, I've already moisturised my skin and applied my base, and today I've used the skin base from Illamasqua, and this is quite a new product for me. I've only been using it sort of the last couple of weeks or so every now and then, so I'm still kind of getting to know it as a product, but you can see how it works today in this tutorial. So I'm just going to go in with a little bit of concealer just under the eyes. I'm going to be using my Clinique Airbrush Concealer. And I normally find that I'm darkest on the inside of my eyes. The outside's not quite as bad, but the inside's generally where I need a bit of extra coverage. Just going to tap and blend that in. Then for any spots, I'm going to use my Faithful Clinique Anti-Blemish Concealer. I'll just be using a fine brush to apply that. Then I'm going to lightly powder and seal my concealer in with a little bit of my Bare Minerals foundation powder. Next I'm going to quickly brush through and define my eyebrows quite lightly with my Bobbi Brown Subtle eyeshadow. So then for eyes, I'm going to go for my Groundwork paint pot from MAC. This is a new product for me, as I've not really been using brown eyeshadow sort of as a wash. I generally pick a lighter shade and more champagne, pinky, fleshy coloured eyeshadow for my base rather than a brown shade, and generally stick to brown at the crease. So I want to sort of push the boundaries of my sort of normal makeup by trying this out, but it's a really lovely soft brown shade, and I think it works probably very well on most people's eyes. It's not too dark if you are quite fair skinned for a natural look, and you could obviously build it up for an evening look. So I'll apply it with a brush, but you can also use your fingers very easily with this product. So as you can see, it's a really pretty sort of sheeny kind of brown shade, so it's not particularly dark. It's sort of almost pearly pinky brown rather than a red brown, but yes, I'm going to be using my MAC 217 brush for this, as I find this really helps sort of buff it into the eyelids. And I haven't used a primer today, as I've used my foundation, my Illamasqua Skin Base, just lightly over my eyelids just to help work as a base layer. So as you can see, I'm just using circular motions, and you don't need hardly any on the brush. I mean, you can see already the colour is building up and there's practically nothing on the brush, it still looks clean. So just use this very lightly. And a sort of similar shade cream eyeshadow would work just as well. And again, if you're going to go for a day look, you can just use this very lightly, very softly. Or if you wanted to amp this up for evening, you could go in a little bit darker. This is going to be more of a transitional seasonal look, going from spring into autumn, but not quite ready for full on autumn or winter. So that's the look we're going for today. And this is so easy to use. Again, fingers are just as good. I just find the finish with a brush is slightly better, slightly easier to blend than with fingers. So as you're applying it, don't go too close to the inner part of your eye, just as I think that can be a bit sort of narrowing for your eyes in terms of making them a bit smaller. I think if you keep sort of the fleshy colour of your natural skin sort of visible, that will kind of help open out your eyes rather than close them off too much with it being dark in the middle. And you can apply a little bit more on the outside, sort of work a bit of slight light contouring of the crease. So that's the sort of base applied of the eyeshadow, and it's just a very soft very natural sort of brown shade rather than anything too strong. And also what's great about these products, these cream paint pots, is that they go on obviously in a cream and they dry quite matte and don't really have that sort of shiny creasing effect that some cream eyeshadows can have. So it lasts very, very well all day, so this is going to be like a day wear for you. You won't have to reapply it because it will stay really, really well. Then to define the eyes and give a light smoky brown effect, I'm going to be using my Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On pencil in the shade Hustle. Now again, we're going to smudge this out so it doesn't have to be perfect as you apply it. Just go and hug the edge of the eyelashes as much as possible so that you get it as close to the roots and make it as seamless to the edge of your eyelid and lash line as possible. You don't want to have a gap between the liner and the eye sort of lashes, but again, you can do this very, very close and very, very natural. Or if you want to amp this up, you can just apply it a lot more thickly and smudge it out and go in a bit darker. So there we go, that's just the eyeliner just applied. So that's the eyeliner applied, and it's not perfect, it's just hugged the lash line as much as possible, and then I'm going to blend it out. So then I'm going to smudge the eyeliner out to give it a bit more of a smokier, softer look. You could either use a cotton bud and literally just run the cotton bud along your eyeliner, or you can use a brush. I have one from Zoeva called a smudger brush, and it's designed for this purpose. So I'm just going to use my brush to smudge out the eyeliner. So I'm just going to run it along lash line where I've applied the eyeliner and just sort of run the brush forwards and backwards. And as you smudge out the eyeliner, you can just see how the two sides look, and if you put a little bit more on one side, like on the inside of the eye or the outside of the eye, then you can sort of even it up by applying a little bit more of the eyeliner and then smudging it out and then sort of evening out as much as possible so you get a symmetrical look. Then I'm going to go in with some black mascara, and I'm using the Max Factor Clump Defy mascara, which is a brilliant mascara, really great, and it does exactly what it says on the tin, and it really helps to separate and lengthen your eyelashes. Then for a little light contouring, I'm going to be using my Bourjois bronzing powder. I don't want to go in too heavy with this, as I think a too heavily bronzed look is a little bit too summery, and as we're going for a more autumnal look, I just want to use this product for definition rather than too much colour, as I think going a little bit more pale and interesting is quite nice for autumn. So I'm just going to use this under my cheekbones and softly apply it from my temple down to about halfway along my cheekbone. For blusher, I'm going to be using my Clinique Bashful Blush blusher, and it's a really pretty soft shade, I think, for an autumnal time of year, as opposed to something more peachy, pinky, brighter that I think is best for spring and summer, as it's sort of a bit warmer and a little bit more sort of autumnal and goes with the sort of shades that I'm going to be wearing on my lips. And I'm going to apply the blusher with my fan brush just to the tops of the cheeks, as I find this is a really pretty, soft and quite natural way to apply blusher. So I'm just going to lightly dust the brush into the blusher, tap off any excess, and then apply it just to the tops of the cheeks, like so. So you can see it's just given a really pretty warmth to the face without being overly pink or overly sort of peachy and shiny. And because the brush is so light, it doesn't apply too much in one go. These Clinique blushes really do last forever. Then for lips, I'm going to be applying a similar shade to my blush, and I'm going to be using my Vapor Beauty lipstick in the shade Au Pair. Now this shade again is a little bit more browny and sort of pinky colour, and I think it's a really nice shade, quite a natural shade for autumn. So that's the finished look. I think this is a really nice transitional makeup going into autumn, as it's a softer brown eye and a softer pink lip and blush that is a bit different to the sort of brighter peachy pinky spring shades. Again, you can vamp this up a little bit more with a lipstick colour and also with a bit more eyeliner.